Welcome back to Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago. We are having discussions about the Freemason Society in Trinidad and Tobago with, we have Jerome Herrera. We also have LeQuay. We say good morning. Thank you very much for being here.
Good morning. Thank you for having us here.
Now, can you give me an overview of Freemasonry in Trinidad and Tobago?
Wow, that's a very good question for your first one. We have been in Trinidad and Tobago since basically the 18th century, right? We have evolved to several lodges within Trinidad and Tobago, and basically what I am a part of, which is Royal Philanthropic Lodge, we're part of the English Constitution, which is under the auspices of the United Grand Lodge of England. There are two other constitutions, which are Scottish Constitution and Prince Hall. Prince Hall is out of the United States, out of Boston, Massachusetts. So this will give you Freemasonry now in 2017. Those are the three major constitutions we have here.
No, when someone says Freemasonry, different things come to mind. I think of two words, secrecy and symbolism. How would you respond to that if somebody tells you that, Mr. LeQuay?
Freemasonry, we are not a secret society, but we are a society with secrets. And the secrets, because Freemasonry is out there on the internet. United Grand Lodge is a fantastic large building in London. Even in Trinidad, you know where the lodges are, and you do know some of the Masons who are out there. The secrecy comes from there are secret signs, tokens to identify ourselves to other Masons when we travel. Mm-hmm. But generally, Freemasonry is very philanthropic, and we do a lot of charity work even here in Trinidad, and we have open events to everyone.
Now, in terms of events, there is a commemoration of the Tercentenary Celebrations, England's Tercentenary Celebrations.
Correct.
How does that translate to your activities now in Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, what is going on now is the United Grand Lodge of England, of course, when you see the Tercentenary, it's the 300th anniversary of a Grand Lodge, which is a combination of several lodges under one unit, from 1717 to 2017. All over the world, there have been celebrations about this, whether there are processions in the streets, there are musicals, there are plays, there are car rallies, even in England itself. I've known some in South Africa, and recently in our own Caribbean, there has been in Jamaica. And that has been highly advertised and published in the papers. So what we have done in our district of Trinidad and Tobago is that we have now looked to have our own celebrations here, and we're starting off with a Thanksgiving service this Saturday, the 3rd of June. It starts at 10 a.m. and it will go till about, let's say, 11:30 to 12. It's going to be a Thanksgiving service just for to basically, as we have just said, just give thanks for what we are proud to be as Freemasons, and to start the ball rolling for other activities, which is a musical, a play, and even a live streaming of a concert in England with Royal Albert Hall, where the big ones are coming. I don't say the big ones, I say His Royal Highness, the Duke of Kent, as well as Prince Michael of Kent in England at Royal Albert Hall, which we will be streaming live in Trinidad and Tobago. And this is open to the public.
You speak of having a Thanksgiving service, and that begs the question, is Freemasonry, does Freemasonry have relations to any specific relations, or does it go through? How does Freemasonry and religion coexist?
Well,
to be a Freemason, you have to have a belief in God, or in a God, right? So Freemasonry is open to all religions. In fact, the officiant at the interfaith service, it's an interfaith service, is Father Clive Abdullah, who's also
Reverend,
who's also a Mason. So one of the precursors to being a Freemason, you have to believe in a higher being, right? But it's not a religion because it's open to all religions.
And further to that, what Freemasonry is a non-political and non-religious organization, which we might want to ask basically why we're here. So when we say it's not political, not religious, but you still must have a belief in a higher being, what that means is that the higher being may have construct in you certain beliefs in regard to kindness, certain beliefs in regard to morality, certain beliefs in regard to integrity and honesty. So we as Freemasons, we make sure that when you come to our lodge or you become a Freemason and people come and see you, they should see that part of you. They should see that part of you whereby you wish to be a better man. Freemasons have a saying that they make good men better. And that is what we try to focus on those tenets and principles. And when you go online and you see for yourself, there are 3 basic tenets and principles of Freemasonry, which is brotherly love, relief, and truth.
Now, saying that you can go online and get information about Freemasonry is one thing, but you also said, Mr. LeQuay, that it's a society with secrets. How do people join, or is there a specific set of criteria that you would be looking for, in addition to your belief in a higher power, to enter or to become a Freemason?
Well, the expression is to be one, ask one. So you'd normally, of your own free will, want to become a Mason for whatever reason. And different people have different reasons for joining Freemasonry. You must be at the age of 21. As I said before, you must believe in a higher being and come of your own free will and accord. Different lodges have different interview processes. In our lodge, you would normally be invited to what we call a lodge of instruction, which is just an informal lodge where we have informal sessions and training. You'd be invited downstairs to dine with the other brothers, where you would come to know the brothers and they will come to know you as a prospect. Then you'll go through a process of being interviewed and background checks to make sure that you're an upstanding person. Once you go through the process, you'll be balloted and you accepted by getting all white balls, or if somebody within the lodge thinks you're may not become a good Mason, you're blackballed, and that's where the expression came from. Right? And as you progress through the various degrees, and there are 3 degrees in craft masonry, the last being the 3rd degree, and again, that's where the expression comes from. Then you become a Mason. But it's basically you becoming to know the brethren that are in Freemasonry, and they coming to know you.
You said craft masonry. What are the other types?
Oh, there are a lot of different types. Under United Grand Lodge of England, they're basically craft masonry, and there's Royal Arch. But also there are other types of orders within the Freemason structure. There's Master Masons, there's Royal Arch Mariners, there are also Rose Croix, etc. There's a myriad of different orders that you could be a part of. But first of all, to reach to any one of those orders, you must come in within the craft masonry and get those first 3 degrees.
What are some of the changes that you've seen within yourselves, or you've seen within other members, other brothers in the fraternity, upon entering and progressing through?
Oh, good. You want to go first? I'll go after.
Freemasonry is an individual. It's for the individual. It took me a while before I had to do my due diligence, right? Of course, there are people out there who have the negative stigma, and when they approach me and ask me, I'd say, well, if you know me, you know what I'm about. And I wouldn't go into anything negative. When I went into Freemasonry, it's because a friend of mine whose family have been Masons for quite a while, they actually, they had his wedding, his reception at the temple. And downstairs, you had the boards of all the names of officers. And they had quite a few people who, I know their names, ministers, business people, etc., people who are associated with my father, who was not a Mason. And that intrigued me, right? And meeting them and seeing what they're about. When I went into Freemasonry, it has truly made me a better person. It's made me a lot calmer, more open to interaction with other people, being more, settle me down more as a man and as an individual than anything else.
There's a piggyback on what Kurt has just said. How I became aware of it. I mean, first of all, I was a history student before, right? And you heard about Freemasonry, etc. And some of the things that had of great concern to me. I found out one of my very, very good friends and mentors was a Mason. And so when I heard that he was a Mason, I was like, well, I don't think he'll be into any kind of contrary things. So I eventually did my own research, and my own research in regard to what the factual side of it, and not the whole mythical side or the whole negative side. Look for what the facts are. And I found the facts, and I decided to go into it. And a very interesting book that came around at the same time was Dan Brown, The Lost Symbol. So went in 7 years hence. What Freemasonry has done for me personally is understand what a group of men who one you wish to aspire to be like. And not necessarily to be like in regard to stature, but necessarily be like in regard to what their morality is, what makes them think and what makes them become the men who they are. And what has made me become personally very much tolerant of a lot of things, very much compassionate and loving towards people, and not necessarily only brethren or whatever, or to the person in general. And has made me decided, look, I have to be, or I want to be. And I think it should be better for people in Trinidad and Tobago to understand that when they say you want to make good men better, what that essentially means is for you to be a better father, better husband, better son, grandson, uncle, employer, employee, neighbor. And generally, it makes you feel that you have to understand I have to be a better countryman within Trinidad and Tobago, follow the laws of the society, and even more so, understand the moral fabric of our unique country, and understand that you must try in your own little way, try to make your neighborhood and your country better.
Where do you pull from? And I say that in terms of the target audience of people who would be entering the ranks. And because you've spoken about seeing ministers' names, you've spoken about a friend and mentor, and these people that you would aspire to be like in terms of character, not necessarily these, but because everyone walks their own path.
Right.
But would this person be blackballed because they have this, this is their job as opposed to something of a greater stature? Where do you pull individuals from?
Of course not. What we actually do is that Freemasonry is open to every person, every man who is of different races, religions, socioeconomic strata. So when you see that, okay, when you come to our lodge and you see different names, and you see the names that you know, but the names that you don't know, when you understand who they were average people, and average people, average jobs, average incomes, from the simple person that works in the public service, and yes, so people who may be lawyers, doctors, judges, and so on. But that doesn't really, it appeals to and it attracts people of every social strata who really want to be a better man.
We take a break, we come back with more. This is Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago. Stay with us.
See Yourself Daily, a quick glimpse into the many facets of life in TNT. Weekday mornings in Good Morning Trinidad and Tobago. After